Kia ora koutou. Welcome to another edition of the Hot Air Sports Podcast with me, Goose. My good mate, the couch, is down below today. How are you, Aaron?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, I've turned myself around
Yep, well
in
done.
life and in podcasting.
Setting
Really
yourself,
good.
getting ready for Vaiunu to come and give you a good blow and a good wet.
Oh, yeah, mate. Yeah. We're preparing for it. Calm before the storm at the moment. The sun is shining. I've got the grandson over, so there's a bit of chaos going on in the background. But I'm here, mate. I'm here. And we've got a very, 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 very special guest, don't we, mate? And
We certainly do. Mr. Rugby commentary for New Zealand, for Sky Sports and TV1 prior to that. How many years is it now? Welcome to Grant Nisbett.
Morning, guys. Too long to remember, actually. Did my first rugby commentary on television in '84. So you do the sums.
Yeah, that's George
Yep, that's a
Orwell
while.
time. Yeah, it feels like we're in George Orwell times again, doesn't it? This is our hot air glory days, Grant. I don't know whether you know this is when we have special guests on. We've had Chilblain on. We've had a couple of other people on. We've had Piney on, haven't we? We've had a few. This is where we hit up some of our favourite sports stars and commentators from days gone by, and some of them are still around, still doing the business, but like yourself. And the wins, the losses, the ups, the downs, their lives now past their glory days, but some of them are still in the glory days. Grant, you're still doing it, mate. You're still doing it, still doing some fantastic commentary. I'd like to know, where were you born and raised to start with? Let's start at the very beginning.
Born and raised in Wellington, and basically still here. I've had a few excursions over the years, spent a bit of time in Auckland, a bit of time in Sydney, but basically a Wellington boy, born and bred, went to school here, played a bit of footy, got into broadcasting in my late teens, and never really left, to be fair.
What
Absolutely.
college did you go to, Grant?
I went to Rongotai College, the home of the likes of Artie Savia, Julian Savia, Martin Nonu, etc., etc. Sadly, their first 15 is not as good as it used to be, but we had a great first 15. My last year, I was actually the captain of the team, and we
Oh,
never lost a college game,
oh, really?
which was great. And I've got fond memories of my school days, that's for sure.
And what position did you
Yes.
play, Grant?
I played number 8 in
Oh.
school, but when I left, I must have put on a bit of weight because I finished up in the front row. I only managed to play 4 years of senior rugby, it was, because obviously when you work in this sort of business, weekend work is essential, and it's pretty hard to combine broadcasting and playing. So, but I was lucky enough to get 4 years here and 1 year in Sydney, and that was the end of my footy career at 22 years of age.
I remember I was at Nelson College and we used to play Rongotai every year. And also when I moved to St. Pat Silverstream, we always played Rongotai every year as well. And some pretty good players back in the late 70s, early 80s as well. I remember coming up against Richard Watt, the former Wellington lock and assistant coach. He was a hard case.
Yeah, he's done really well in the coaching. I've been so pleased for the guy. In fact, when Wellington played Bay of Plenty in the final 2 years ago, I texted him and said, I've got mixed emotions about this game, mate. I'm a Wellingtonian, but you're an old Rongotai and Paniki boy, so I'd quite like you to win as well. And sadly, he lost out, but I'm probably about 10 years older than you, and I remember playing Silverstream, and we were the first ever Rongotai side to beat Silverstream at Silverstream. And they had Joe Karam in those days.
Mm.
They were a very good team, but we were just slightly better.
Outstanding. And so after the rugby ended, and you mentioned you got into broadcasting in your late teens, what was the inspiration for getting into that?
Well, actually, I was all set to. I mean, when I was at school, I was just, I was sport, and more sport.
Yeah.
And I
Sounds
thought, now
familiar.
how am I going to carry this on? There was no professional sport, obviously, in those days. So I thought, how am I going to do this in my working life? And I actually applied and got accepted to go to Otago University to do the PE degree,
Ah,
which I think was 3 years. But I got slightly sidetracked. I had a neighbour who had a neighbour who had a friend who had a friend who knew Lance Cross, or Sir Lance Cross, who
yeah.
ran the NZBC Sporting Service. I got an interview, and I passed the interview, and I finished up starting on the very last day of 1968 at
Oh,
Broadcasting House in Wellington. So that's where it all started.
Outstanding. Where did you go to from there?
Well, I worked in broadcasting house, well, effectively in radio for a long time. I mean, television was in its infancy of those days, but didn't do a lot of television. So mainly I was in radio for 4 years. Then I thought I'd go do a bit of an OE. I don't know where I was actually heading to, but I only got as far as Sydney. Lasted there 6 months, played a bit of footy, and a job came up in Auckland to work in 1ZB in Auckland. So I was
Wow.
lucky enough to get that, and I joined the likes of, Keith Quinn had gone there then,
Yeah.
Alan Richards, the great Alan Richards, the cricket commentator, and
Yeah.
others, Rocky Patterson. And so I finished up in Auckland for a while. Eventually came back to Wellington and just battled on radio. And then in '84, TVNZ were looking for a rugby commentator, and that's where the television career started.
So 68, 70, you would have been taught the Queen's English, were you? Were you told to sort of, hold the plum in your mouth and talk?
Yeah, well, it's interesting, yeah, because in those days, the NZBC broadcasting school was run by pretty much by ex-POMs,
Yeah,
who were announcers and what have you. So I very much rounded the vowels
that's
and
right.
sounded really like not like a Kiwi, put it that way.
No.
Um, in fact, if you happen to go back and have a listen to some of the early television jobs, I was still rounding the vowels nicely.
Lovely.
Yes.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. What? Oh, funny, man. Funny times. And so what was can you remember your first game of rugby that you ever commentated in?
Yeah, it was the All Blacks. I don't remember a lot about it, but it
Yeah.
was the All Blacks against France and Christchurch. But
That was your
I
first game you commentated was an All Blacks game. Your first game of rugby you ever commentated, ever.
well, as far as I know, yeah.
Wow.
I didn't
Well,
have a lot
straight to the All Blacks.
build up to it.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I had a lot of guidance
Yeah, sure.
from the likes of Keith Quinn and Brendan Telfer and one or two others. But I do remember not long after that going to Australia and doing a 3-match test series over there. The All Blacks went on a full tour to Australia, which they did 3 times: 1984, 88, and again in '92.
Yep.
So I do remember a bit more about the Australian tour than I do about that very first game. But yeah, it started in that era.
Wow. And that's the one that tour of Australia. Is that the one that Hicka Reid scored? That try? Is that the one?
No, I
Or was
think
it?
that might have been '74.
Oy.
Yeah, or
Hicker
somewhere
Reid, that would
around
have
there.
been
Yeah. No,
about
I don't
88.
remember. I don't remember Hicker Reid being involved, but
I remember that
uh,
try under the post, Hicka
it
Reid
was
Tim.
sort of it was sort of the. I remember the All Black coach was a guy called Bryce Rope.
I remember Bryce Rope. Yeah, that was around
Yeah,
mid 80s, wasn't it? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Wow. So auspicious beginnings, and then obviously you and Keith used to they used to put two of you on, didn't they? Either you or Macbeth or you or Keith, and you used to commentate the games together, like for 5 minutes at a time. It was a bit strange
Yeah,
then, wasn't it?
yeah, it was a bit of a compromise. We had too many commentators and not enough games, to be honest. It's
Yeah,
true. I mean,
yeah.
you think back to the old days of TVNZ, they only did one game a week.
Mm.
Um, and so to get us all working, I suppose, they came up with the idea of why not just bring the two of you in? And it worked out pretty well. I think from memory, we did the '91 World Cup that way.
Yeah, I
Just trying
think
to
you
think,
did.
yeah.
I think you did.
And it went well. But then eventually we went back to, one caller and one expert commentator, and now latterly, of course, another guy sitting on the sideline.
Yeah.
Who are some of the characters that you've have been in the commentary box with you? So I can remember. I don't know if
Co-coms.
did you ever commentate with Earl Curtin?
I did, yeah, I did. Earl Curtin, way back in the early days. Graham Thorne was another one.
Graham
Yeah.
Thorne. Yeah.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
the blokes. They were the blokes at TVNZ. And when we went to Sky, which was '96,
Mix.
obviously Murray Mexted was the
Yeah.
first guy. Bernie McCahill was another one.
True.
And then when Mex finished, John Drake came along, the late
Of
John Drake.
course. Of
Yeah.
course. I really like John
Replaced by
Drake.
Grant Fox once
Yeah.
when Drakey passed away, sadly. And then since Foxy went at the end of 2011 World Cup, pretty much Justin. So there's been a lot of others, obviously, but they're the sort of the main guys that I've worked with over the years.
How many have you had to hold back the laughter when they've come out with something something quirky, Much like
Yeah,
Mex
what I
used to.
tend to do is just say nothing. Mex came out with some pearlers over the years.
Oh
Did
yeah.
I? Yeah, we're
Absolute
still
pearler.
quoting him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Murray, Murray, can you hear me, Murray? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was a classic, Murray. I mean, I actually never met someone who's so passionate about the game of rugby. Really, really passionate about the game of rugby. And a delightful guy to work with. And many times in social situations, people can get quite aggressive having a few beers, and they see a guy like Mex and they think, this is my chance. And I've never known a guy so easily able to diffuse those situations. Within a minute, they're all mates. Because Mex was so good at doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
I was, and actually going back, you'd probably remember some of these guys. I was just a bit too young to remember Winston McCarthy.
Oh,
I always remember my dad talking
dad's
about
hero.
the
Yeah.
screaming skull.
Listen, it's a goal. Oh,
Correct.
And of course, radio had some really good commentators too.
Oh,
Did you ever
yeah.
do any radio commentary? I'm thinking John Howson,
John Howson. Yep.
John Macbeth did radio for a while.
Yeah,
And
look, I
and
did
the
quite
late
a few
Graham Moody.
radio commentaries. I remember once, in fairly early days, Brian Russ was the voice of Athletic Park, and he went away. I think he actually went on the All Black tour in '74, and that left a bit of a void at Athletic Park. And I was the guy who had to fill in, which I found quite intimidating because Athletic Park had an open commentary box, and your other responsibility too was you were the ground announcer. So, yeah,
Really?
so I was a bit shy, and I didn't really want to raise my voice too much because you were sitting pretty much in the crowd. And even worse is when you had to turn the public address system on and say that number 12 has been replaced by number, 8,
Yeah.
20 or whatever. I was pretty reticent there, but it's a good grounding. Radio is the best grounding for television. It just teaches you all the principles of broadcasting, I guess. Then you've got to, when you do make the switch, you've got to remember not to talk so much because obviously with TV, the pictures are already there.
And I bet you people weren't reticent, sort of coming, backwards, coming forwards. If you did get on the public address system and made a bit of a mistake or got too excited, they would have said, "Oh, shut up, mate." You're back in those days,
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Tell you to shut up and sit
And I was
down.
basically, as I say, I was basically pretty shy about the whole thing. So, I mean, you can hardly whisper. So you've just got to put your big boy pants on and go for it.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the TV commentary box in latter years at Athletic Park, that would have been right up the top of the Millard, was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, there was an old box right up the very top. I'm not even sure why it was there, but you go up there for the first game of the season, and the Seagulls had been in there all winter or all summer, and it was just a shocker. I always used to think to myself, you're the guy that probably should be closest to the action, but in actual fact, nobody was further from the action than the commentator at Athletic Park. It was interesting.
We were both at that last game in '99 when Tana Umaga went over, and that was a great game of rugby. Actually, we killed the French, didn't we? And then 6 months later, we lost the World Cup, didn't we? In the semi-final. Can you remember that last game at Athletic Park? The weather was bloody awful, wasn't it? It was freezing. It was freezing.
Yeah, but I think it was a nice day, wasn't it? I actually took a photo.
I remember being there, but I can't remember what the weather was.
The sun
like.
might have come out for 5 minutes, mate. But
I was there, but I can't remember it.
Yeah,
really, I've got to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough. No, it was a big day, wasn't it, Goose?
It was. You've also done a bit of cricket commentary over the years as well.
Yeah, I did quite a lot of cricket over the years. I don't know how many test matches I would have done, but it would have been quite a few. But I actually started in radio along with Alan Richards and Ian Galloway. They were fantastic guys to work with. And then when I went to TV, I jumped into the commentary box along with the John Morrisons and the Glenn Turners and the Peter Williams and Peter Sharp and all these sort of guys, and we rolled along there for a lot of years. And I really enjoyed cricket commentary. It's not quite my first love. Rugby would have to be there, but cricket's not far behind, that's for sure.
And what other sports have you done? Oh, you've done Olympics, haven't you? You've really done it all. Have you ever commentated on a game of rugby league?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
you have?
Oh, a number of times actually.
Awesome.
When I was in Auckland, I remember sitting at Carlisle Park doing television, believe it or not.
Really?
And who was I working with? I don't know whether you remember the guy, Jim Mills,
Tony, sorry?
a bit of a bad guy, rugby league from the UK, and he's infamous for belting a guy called no, he didn't. He stood on his head.
That's
A
right.
guy called Greengrass.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway, I commentated with him and a guy called David Watkins who was
Yes.
out. So I did. We were sitting on the terraces at Carwell Park in Auckland doing rugby league.
On the concrete terraces.
Yep. And the comments guy was, and now listen to this. This is interesting.
Go on.
Peter Montgomery. Peter Montgomery. Yeah. So two guys steeped in rugby league tradition, me and Peter Montgomery. But actually in '89, I went on the All Black tour to the UK, etc., etc., and went off and spent really 7 days a week doing commentary because I went off and did the rugby league as well. So I did 3 live commentaries there on the test matches in Leeds, Widnes, and somewhere, Manchester.
Yeah.
Yes, I've done a fair bit of rugby league.
Was
it's
that
not my
test?
game as such, but I enjoyed it.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
I was at that test in '89 at Old Trafford.
Were you just?
Yes, went over with and met up with a mate of mine in London and went to the All Blacks versus Pontypool when Kerwin did his Achilles tendon. First game of the tour or second game of the tour.
Is that the good, the bad, and the rugby? The one where they made the video. I remember we had that on hard repeat at my house, and when I was going to university in Waikato, we used to have that on hard repeat. Yeah.
Went to the test at the Cardiff Arms Park.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Some interesting times on those tours, I bet. I remember actually the Friday night before the test in Cardiff. Me and a few other mates were at this pub in Cardiff, and suddenly Grizz appears at the door and comes in and sort of stands at the bar, has 1 pint, looks around the bar to see if any of his players are in there, and buggers off.
Reconnaissance. Yeah.
Well, that was interesting too because I spent I think in the end we worked out that we travelled. I was with a guy called Gavin Service who was my producer director. We worked out that we covered over 3,000 miles of motorways getting up. Rugby league's played in the north, as you know.
Yep.
And we were rushing down to places like Cardiff and London, and we were forever on the move. So I wouldn't have been at that pub because I don't think we'd probably be driving somewhere.
Probably on your way back to Cardiff for the test.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Now, you've commentated on just about every sport, and you've commentated in probably every continent as well, mate. What about your favourite commentators of other sports? Have you got anyone else you look up to, or you admire, or you think does a great job in other sports, or has in the past?
Well, I think when you're talking rugby, Bill McLaren, quite clearly.
Like a rampaging giraffe.
Lucky enough to meet the guy. Just a gentleman. A gentleman Scottish school teacher who was happy to share any sort of thoughts and what have you with him, and real pleasure to meet him, obviously, and Keith Quinn, who was kind of the pioneer, really, I guess, of rugby television in this country, and he's been a mate of mine, still is, for 50 odd years. So and that kind of covers the rugby, I guess. In cricket, obviously, Richie Benaud,
absolutely,
who I was lucky enough also to do a game with in India and Pakistan at the '96 World Cup, and fantastic. And in our terms, Ian Smith,
of course,
who remains to me the best of the best. Other sports, hard to. It was interesting going to the '76 Olympics in Montreal, and I'm just trying to think of the guy's name now, who was a very famous US commentator on football, but he was also big into boxing.
Not Howard Cosell.
That's the boy.
Howard Cosell. Yeah, that's the guy.
And I couldn't believe.
I can't believe you couldn't remember my name.
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, I don't know whether he was. He was famous.
He was.
Yeah, I think he was famous for being famous.
He was a bit like that. Yeah. Welcome to America, I suppose.
Yeah. There's actually a movie about his time in doing Monday Night Football in the American football NFL, and they've got John Turturro plays him. It's really, really good. He
Awesome.
was certainly a real character right
One
up
of a
there.
kind, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
because he had
you probably
some.
wouldn't get away with smoking a cigar on television these days.
Oh no,
And he took
he
on Muhammad Ali in his own game, didn't he? He said, I think you're useless, Muhammad. You did not fight that. Take him on. I'm going to knock you out next time. In that fight on TV, it was like great.
Yeah,
Absolutely great TV.
I think I know who would back.
Totally, totally.
yeah. Now that when Sky took over the rights, you transferred pretty much straight away. Was it any different working for a company like Sky than it was for TVNZ, or did it just everything sort of felt the same?
It was a wee bit different. You were going from what effectively was a government department to a private operation, and it kind of felt like that for sure. Sky made a big commitment when they took the rugby rights because they said we're going to do every game, and we were coming from an environment where we decided, along with the rugby union, that we'd do one game on a Saturday, and that was pretty much it. To doing so many games, so the whole mindset was different when you went to Sky.
And of course, that was around the same time as the introduction of night rugby too, wasn't it? In the mid-90s, we'd seen it obviously overseas, but didn't have any grounds in New Zealand that were capable of having night games. I think the first one was at McLean Park in Napier, wasn't it?
Could well have been, yeah. 96, that test against, was it Samoa? When Cullen got 3 or 4 on debut. Obviously living in Wellington, when Super Rugby started, Athletic Park, they're all day games until they put the stadium in. So that was 4 or 5 years of day games. You're dead right. There was very little night rugby in those days.
Do you think it's changed the game at all? I mean, I know there's been lots of rule changes over the years, and rugby's probably a completely different game now than it was 30 years ago. But at the time, did it make a difference to how the rugby was played?
I don't know. I mean, it would be hard for me to comment on it. You talk to a lot of players, and they still prefer to play in natural light. If that's the fundamental difference, I guess. But there's a whole generation of rugby players who've only played under lights, to be honest with you. Obviously, they're coming up through club rugby, etc., etc. They would have played during the day, but never ceases to amaze me. When they play night rugby, they train in the day, and when you play day rugby, you play it and you train at night. It's a crazy world, isn't it?
It is. It is. And at least we're getting back to, the days where we can sort of put on the odd day test now. I used to love the odd day tests, afternoon tests, and also tours. Getting back to tours, which is fantastic. Going back to South Africa on a proper tour. I still remember that tour of 96. What do you remember of that tour of 96?
Oh, lots. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember lots. Yeah.
Yeah.
It started, obviously, we had to finish off the Tri-Nation, so we had a test in Cape Town. And then the tour started, and it's just great to be there. It really was.
Yeah.
I remember probably one of the more memorable tests was that one in Pretoria when we got the job done for the first time ever in terms of a series in South Africa, because at the time the feeling was that if we had to go to Joburg, we were never going to win there.
Yeah.
So we had to get the job done in Pretoria, having won in I think Durban the week before.
Yep.
So that's one of my favourite memories. But being able to go to some of the regions in South Africa that you wouldn't normally go to. Where did we go? Kimberley and Windhoek, I think.
Potchefstroom.
I can't remember where we went, but anyway, we got there, and just sort of places you wouldn't normally travel to, and it is good. And it is good that they're heading back in that direction. But of course, the calendar now is so condensed.
Yeah,
so damn hard to fit anything in, really.
Yeah, 96. I mean, Macca and I were at home sort of 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning crying over our cornflakes, weren't we, mate? When they won that test. I remember I had a living room full of guys, and we were all sort of, oh, we finally won it, mate. We finally did it. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. We'd all had a tray of piss. We were all like, oh, mate, that was about as emotional as we could get. I mean, the year before, of course, we lost the World Cup, so it was sort of like, It was
Yeah,
redemption for it almost, wasn't it? And of course, we
yeah.
had Jonah and the guys doing the haka in the stands and all of that. It was glory days really for as far as the tour. I just think it's fantastic. They're going back there this year, doing it all again.
Yeah,
Yeah, is that your favourite country to tour, right?
one of them. Yeah, I mean, I've been there so many times now.
Yeah.
Tried to work it out the other day. I think I've been there about 30 times
Wow.
over the
Wow.
years. And a lot of the players have been there a lot as well.
Mm.
Yeah, it's right up there. There's no question about it. I mean, South Africa is what I was brought up on. And of course, they were in isolation for so long, etc.,
Mm.
etc.
Mm.
But some fond memories of listening to the old tranny in 1960 and again in 1970. But having said that, I mean, the good thing about rugby is that it does take you to some wonderful places. There's no doubt about that. I mean, France, Italy, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, England, Argentina. Very lucky, and Australia, of course. Very lucky that these countries exist on the international rugby stage.
Absolutely.
Any of the games in the States?
Yep, been to Chicago three times now. Yeah, three times. So, yeah, and up to the islands too. Did a test in Samoa. Been to Fiji to do a bit of Super Rugby from time to time. So, yeah, it's great countries to tour. Great countries.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, so let's get on to players, Grant. You've seen just about every player since I've been born play, mostly in the flesh. So who your greatest players, your greatest All Blacks to start with? Who give me a top three. I know that's bloody hard, but I have a sneaking suspicion your number one might be the same as mine. But give me your top three
Well,
you've seen that
it's
you've
well
seen.
documented. Well documented that my number one is Christian Cullen.
Thank you. Yep, I'm the
Yeah.
same. Yeah, best I've ever seen.
I've never seen a player like him
No.
either before or since. And I know him pretty well these days. I mean, I didn't really know him much as a player. I probably interviewed him a few times, but he was a very shy sort of guy, so you never got to really know him. But I have subsequently got to know him pretty well, and I think he's pretty embarrassed that I think that he's the best I've ever seen. But anyway, I can't change my mind because he's embarrassed.
Makes it even better, doesn't it? Really? I mean,
Yeah.
that he's that modest about it. That's great.
Yeah.
You know.
And to find the other two is so difficult. You think of the great Michael Jones, obviously Richie McCaw, Dan Carter. These names, they just keep coming, really. But I think obviously Dan Carter was exceptional. That performance against the Lions back in whenever
05.
2005.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll ever be. And for pure consistency of performance and longevity, Richie McCaw has to be there.
Yeah.
So I guess you have to leave a lot out.
You do.
But that probably would be the three.
Yeah, pretty much the same as mine, except Jonah. Jonah's the one sort of outlier. He's sort of like, I don't know. He was always it was just the greatest thing I've ever seen, I mean, he was just, whereas Christian was just pure rugby elegance. Jonah was just a beast, wasn't he? He was just something we'd never seen before like that. And what are your memories of Jonah?
Yeah, total phenomenon. And in my view, he had the biggest impact of anybody in the world of rugby. Probably not the most complete rugby player. He had his faults, but what an impact he had.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to compare eras, but I sort of think back to some of the guys that we had in the late 70s and early 80s, like Graham Murray, obviously, Stu Wilson, and one of my favourite players of all time was Bruce Robertson. And it's actually, he's passed away, obviously, but it would have been his birthday today.
Oh, right. Yeah, he was. I saw a fair bit of Bruce Robertson when I was living in Auckland. I used to go down and do counties commentaries. And he was part of a great counties team, a really good counties team. And the good thing about counties in those days was they had numbers on the front and the back. So when you were commentating, it was no problem identifying everybody. I wish other teams would do that. I really do. But no, he was such a graceful player.
He was.
He really was. I mean, I was brought up in the era of Colin Meads, Kel Tremaine, Wilson Winteray, Brian Lahore. These guys were my boyhood heroes. Don Clark,
the boot.
Yeah.
That's quite right. I always remember nobody really saw it, but Bruce Robertson's try against Scotland in 1978 when the fog had descended over Murrayfield, and I think Quinny was probably commentating that game.
I think he
Um,
was. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and I seem to remember him saying, and I think Bruce Robinson scored a try.
yeah, yeah. It was bizarre, wasn't it?
And there's that other
Yeah,
piece of commentary that was Bruce Robertson, and it did the little glide in, and then he did that beautiful ball to Stu Wilson. He came on the angle, and Stu Wilson, a try! He was like raised his voice. It was fantastic, and he scored in the
Oh, that
corner.
was France, wasn't it?
Oh,
Yeah,
love that
yeah,
try.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely
What
loved it.
about some international players? Who've been some of your favourites over the years?
good question. I don't think I've ever been asked this question before. So I've
Yes,
never really thought about it.
Oh, you always get the tough questions on the Hot Air Sports
you do,
podcast.
you
Yeah,
do.
yeah. I think one guy who was huge, and sadly he's passed away too, Jus van der Westhuizen.
Mm,
What a halfback he was.
Yeah,
And, Justin Marshall holds him in such high regard. He had to play against him a lot.
good.
But he was an absolute match winner. There's no doubt about that. I'm just trying to think of guys from Europe. I mean, there are guys were my heroes. The likes of Mike Gibson and Gareth Edwards, Barry John, but they were
JPR Williams.
kind
Yeah.
of before my time a wee bit.
Mm.
Anton Dupont is. I'm talking about halfbacks here. I don't know why,
yeah.
but
You love him.
he is probably not quite what he was. He's come back from a long injury. He may well come back to his best, but in his pomp, in his prime, by gee, very few have been better than him.
Yeah, Philippe Salah
Um,
for me for the French.
yeah,
Serge
Serge
Blanco.
Blanco,
Yeah,
And who was the blonde guy that came out in the 70s?
John
Jean-Pierre
Beery.
Reeves.
Jean-Pierre Reeves. He was one of
Yeah,
the best number sevens I think I'd ever seen.
yeah,
Great player.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Talking about Just van der Westhuizen, he's certainly not quite at the level of Just yet, but I think Cam Roygaard could possibly get there. He's got a really good all-round game. I mean, we talked halfbacks in the past, he was a good passer, but he wasn't great round the base of the scrum, or he was a good runner, but he couldn't pass, that sort of thing. But I think Roygaard seems to just about have everything, doesn't he?
he does. He's got speed too. And I mean, how lucky are we? We've just come off an Aaron Smith era where he dominated the All Black number 9 shirt for 10 years probably, and played over 100 tests to be replaced by Cam Roygaard. So there's been no real void there, which is fantastic. Yeah, his best rugby's ahead of him. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a few injury
Just
issues.
stay fit. Yeah.
Yeah, stay fit, and
Please.
he could well be a star at the World Cup next year.
Absolutely. Who are some of the other current players around that you like the look of that maybe haven't quite broken through yet? Any
Or just starting to.
up-and-coming stars?
Oh yeah, look, when you analyse it, we're pretty well off in most positions, aren't we? It's going to be interesting to see how Dave Rennie deals with all this.
Yeah.
I mean, last year I thought Fabian Holland was just
Oh,
fantastic.
mate.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic, and I still think
We missed
we've
him.
got 100 Test All Black on our hands here.
Yep.
If he can stay fit again, hopefully he can get him back on the paddock this year, because I think he is going to be. And I was so impressed last week with Jamie Hanna. We've got young Sam Darry. And they're talking about bringing Brodie Retallick back. I'm not sure that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think we're okay. And we're forgetting Scott Barrett, we're forgetting Josh Lord, we're forgetting Tupou Vai.
That's true.
Boy, we've got guys to burn. Do we really need Brodie Retallick?
For the vibes, maybe. For the vibes. Who knows?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I
don't know either.
I don't want to rubbish him because he's such a great player.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's playing well in Japan, but playing well in Japan, does that equal playing well in here? I don't know.
In South Africa? Ooh.
Yeah. You mentioned Dave Rennie there. Of course, there was a bit of a furore at the early part of the year with Razor getting the Spanish Archer and Dave Rennie coming in. Aaron and I have both spoken out about it on the podcast that we weren't really that happy with the way that things went down. How did you see it?
The New Zealand Rugby Union haven't handled themselves in glory in the last few years. I mean, the very appointment of Scott Robertson was wrong.
It was weird.
It was wrong. It
was
wrong.
late.
I mean, you can't be appointing an All Black coach while the incumbent has still got 6 months to
Correct,
go.
yeah.
Yep.
and give him absolutely no hope of reapplying for his job.
But that wasn't his fault either. That wasn't Robertson's fault either. So
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. No, it was purely on the NZRU, and it was shocking, really shocking.
Yep.
And Foster nearly embarrassed them, of course, by winning the World Cup. How
Yeah.
bad would that have been? How bad would that have looked? But anyway, so I don't know any more than you probably do about the Scott Robertson era. All I know is that they lost 7 tests in 2 years, which is unacceptable. Now, why that happened and all the goings on behind the scenes, not privy to it whatsoever. So it's hard to make any comment. But I guess we just have to move on now.
Yeah.
We do. You're happy with the appointment of Dave Rennie?
Yep. Yes, absolutely. Good Wellington boy, of course.
No bias.
Which is pretty important.
Good upper hut boy.
In fact, I saw myself heard myself doing a commentary of Dave Rennie scoring a try for Wellington way back. So either he's old or I am.
Or both, yeah.
But yeah, no, he'll do a good job. He got shafted in Wellington. He wins a championship, and within a couple of years, he's gone. Went to Manawatu, did a great job there with limited resources. We all know the rest. Went to the Chiefs, who hadn't won a title, and got a couple of titles for them. And going to Australia is a poison chalice for sure, because it's pretty hard to win over there with the Wallabies. Yeah. So that didn't go down quite as well, but they probably shafted him too early.
Yep.
And brought in Eddie Jones, who was even worse record. But anyway,
he probably learned a lot though there, right?
He'll do a really good job. He'll do an outstanding job.
I think so. What about your best piece of commentary, Keith? Keith. I called you. Oh, look at that. That's a beauty, isn't it? What about your best?
I think this is one of
your best piece of commentary by Keith. No,
you leave it for others to decide what the best piece of commentary is. I think
we'll leave that in. We'll leave that in. That'll go out in the editing.
The worst piece, and I've only ever done it once, was writing down before the game starts some sort of spiel at the end of it, and that happened in that test in Pretoria in '96. I think this is going to be historic, so I'm going to write this down.
Yeah.
And I did. And when the final whistle blew, I read it out. When I got home, I had a look at it, and I thought, nah, that sounds like a bloke reading it. And so I've never done it since. So I just go with what happens in front of me.
So you can remember your worst piece, but you can't remember your best piece.
I leave other people to decide that.
Okay, as far as your best piece goes, Keith, I was going to say, I bet you get called out all the time with you. You betcha. And when Jonah got that try in the corner for the test of the century, I mean, that was a great piece of commentary, mate. That was beautiful. And was that just off the cuff?
Totally. Yeah. Totally.
It's great.
It all is. It's all off the cuff these days. Absolutely. Yep. And it just seemed the right thing to say at the time, I suppose. But it's hard to come up with new ways of celebrating, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
In fact, in television, sometimes the best thing is absolute silence.
Completely.
And the emotion is evident on the screen. And some of the best commentators in the world are famous for saying nothing at all.
Richie Beno was classic on that. He'd say, just shut up and say nothing. And someone would hit a 4 and he'd wait for it to cross the boundary. People say, great shot, or something like that. It just sum it up with a couple of words. Don't talk over the action. Yeah, love it.
Economy of words.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quite right. Rugby today, it's a hell of a lot different game now, isn't it, than it was even 10 years ago with, all the, I know we've got to be careful about the head injuries and all that sort of thing. It's horrible, some of the stories you hear coming out, but I don't know how they can sort it and continue to play good rugby. We just see so many yellow cards and red cards now that, back in the day, Colin Meads got a red card and he was the only All Black to have ever get that for how many years?
It would have been a yellow card at every scrum back in the day. Let's be honest. I mean, so what's your thoughts on the way that the modern game has gone, Grant, as far as it's being officiated and played? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it is a different game. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I played rugby and I was brought up with rucking, good old rucking, which is probably, when you look back at it now, pretty brutal.
But you didn't
It
lie
sure,
there twice.
well, I was going to say, it sure as hell taught you that, you only went in there once.
That's right.
And yeah, look at what, I mean, in those days, referee was the sole judge. The touch judges had nothing to do with any foul play or anything else. So I do applaud that. I think sometimes over vigilance, often, in fact, more often than not, head high tackles or anything approaching head high tackles are pure accidents.
Yep.
And I think that should be viewed at the time. There's no black or white. It's a very grey area. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. The game today is different because once upon a time you had to actually jump in the line out. You weren't lifted. You could kick the ball out anywhere on the field you wanted to. So from that point of view, I think the game's better. I really do. And the innovations now, the 50-22s and the goal line dropouts and that sort of thing, I think they're good. But I just think, and it's finding its way, really, the TMO and all that sort of thing. I think they'll get it right eventually, but just at times you think, oh, mate, we don't need your advice on this one.
Yeah.
I
Let the
see
referee
some of
make
the accidental head clashes, and I guess the game
Yeah.
that I keep going back to is the last World Cup final when Sam Cane ended up with a red card, yet Sia Khaleesi's one stayed as yellow.
I'll be bold to say here that if Khaleesi had been sent off, we'd won the World Cup. Yeah, and I think he should have been. I mean, that's where it gets silly. We're comparing head clashes
and comparing tiny little gaps. Oh, he was slightly too high. It's like it's happening so fast,
Yeah.
And then another rule that really bugs me at the moment is the deliberately knocking the ball on. I mean, I don't know whether you watched the Warriors last week. Dallin Watene-Zelezniak had a couple of those, and then he got one finally. All it was a scrum. I just think the rugby needs to sort those sorts of laws out. I think that's just what every player, you instinctively do. The ball's flying through the air. You're going to try and, why should someone be sent to the bin for that? I can understand a penalty. Why should someone be sent to the bin? Those are kind of just crazy. You ruin the game. I don't know.
We're on crazy things. My greatest hate in rugby is a rolling maul. Hate them.
You hate the rolling maul?
Hate them.
Really?
Well, you tell me how you when you pull on boots and you're 5 years of age, you are told to tackle the ball carrier.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
How do you tackle the ball carrier in a rolling maul?
Exactly right.
How many of those guys are offside?
Exactly right. Technically,
I hate it. I hate it with a passion.
Fair enough. Well, when you go, the refs seem to know every other rule technically, so why don't they know that one? Yeah.
Well, they do. They do.
They do. That is. It's one of the rules that
they're doing the right thing. It's just that the law is wrong. Absolutely wrong.
Yeah. So tidy up some of those laws.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
You should be able to don't give me the safety thing. There's no danger in sacking a rolling maul. No danger.
Exactly.
Now, before we came on air, Grant, we were talking about the new hairstyles that the Blues have all adopted this weekend, and you're going to be doing the Hurricanes Blues games. You better hope those numbers stand out on the backs of players.
What?
Yeah. It could be a bit of a nightmare. I mean, I applaud for the Blues guys for standing in solidarity with Cameron Suafoa. Really sad story, obviously, and good on them. From a purely selfish point of view, I'm sort of thinking some of these guys are going to look exactly the same. It's gonna be interesting, I tell you. But anyway, we'll get on.
Of course, we will.
Yep. Obviously, no bias in the commentary, of course, from the Wellington-born and bred man.
It's franchise rugby.
Hurricanes Blues derbies are always good games. Results always seem to be a lot closer than they probably should.
Yeah, the last three, I think, have been determined by 3 points or less. And over the years, there's been some great... the Blues, I was just having a look yesterday, the Blues won the first 8 games and then they had a draw before the Hurricanes even won anything. So I think over the last 25 years then, or slightly less, The Hurricanes have obviously got a better record than the Blues, but no, it's going to be a great game. It really is. It pits two teams who play different styles of rugby. The Blues rely very much on their forward pack, and that seems to be the way they play the game. Hurricanes have got a pretty good all-round game and rely very much, I think, on continuity and offloading and good weather, which they should get tomorrow. So look, it'll be a terrific game.
Yeah, and they've got seem to have a lot more speed this year too, the Hurricanes.
Yeah, and a lot more depth. It's a question of who do they leave out rather than who they put in. You look right across the board, and even on the bench, there's tremendous depth, which you've got to have in Super Rugby because it's a long haul, and you are going to get injuries like Tyrell Lomax. He's still out, and the Blues have got, tomorrow, no Hoskins Satutu, no Dalton Papali'i, Patrick Tuipulotu's still not there. So it's a tough campaign, and you've got to have a lot of luck with injuries.
Yeah, quite right. And in a couple of weeks, we've got the Super Round is back. They tried it in Melbourne for a couple of years. It didn't really work very well, which is surprising, really, Melbourne. I'm being sarcastic there. But Christchurch in the new stadium, it's going to be a fantastic weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I went to one of the Melbourne ones, and Melbourne, unfortunately, hasn't got a real rugby sort of
category,
background.
history. Yeah, they don't have it, do they?
Yeah. I mean, they turned up to watch the Force, or not the Force, what the hell were they? The Rebels. But, yeah.
I mean, when you look at Magic Round in Brisbane for the league, I mean, that's, Brisbane is the epicenter of the rugby league, so it's a great place to have it. Yeah. Why have it in Melbourne? I mean, it's just weird. And it's like the way that they scheduled the Easter games as well. Easter, okay, let's put some rugby on. Oh, there's 4 games on tomorrow. There's none on today. What's going on? Oh, it's religious holiday. I'm like, come on. I think they need to be a bit smarter, the guys, as far as when
I think to be fair, they were keen to put some high-profile games on at Easter, but then they had 2 teams who didn't want to play because it was Easter. Don't know who they were. Then they looked around and found that some of the venues were all booked out. So I think it was the perfect storm. Unfortunately, that they could have at least put a decent New Zealand derby game on somewhere. I think that would have maybe taken some of the pressure off.
Well, it's been fascinating chatting with you about rugby. But before you go, I don't know if you watch the Stephen Colbert show, but he always does a little questionnaire amongst his guests. So we've got
our own questionnaire, the hot air questionnaire. So prepare yourself. We're going to delve into the inner mind.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so
I'll start first. We'll go. Can you cook? Yes or no? And if you can, what's your signature dish or meal?
Can I cook?
Yeah,
I can cook selectively.
Toast.
There's a lot of things I don't like, so I just simply wouldn't cook them anyway. I think probably I'm best on a roast.
Nice.
Can't go wrong with a roast. What's your preferred roast?
Lamb.
Roast lamb. Oh yeah, good. And if you were cooking your signature roast, give us 3 dinner party guests, preferably alive. 3 of your dream dinner party guests. Keith Quinn would be one of them, obviously.
Who's that?
Keith Quinn would be one of them, obviously.
Keith Quinn, yeah. Righto.
Don't have to be rugby.
Jeter.
Sorry?
Derek Jeter.
Oh, you're a Yankees fan.
Wow.
Big Yankees fan.
There we go. You know, Mac is the biggest Yankees fan. He's the signed up fan club president over here in New Zealand.
I went to Yankee Stadium just 3 or 4 months ago, actually. Obviously, it was the off season.
Yeah.
I should have worn a Yankees top if I'd known that. This actually is the Nashville Predators.
Ice hockey.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Derek Jeter.
Yeah, Derek Jeter.
Have you seen that documentary on him, the captain?
Yeah.
It's a great doco, isn't it? Fantastic.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
Who else?
Jordan Luck.
Nice. Jordan Luck. Well, the wine would be... The wine would be flowing. You've never met him. I've met him on stage at the Hillcrest Tavern back in 1989, mate. Fun times. He's still doing it too, mate. Oh, Jordan, still doing it.
I haven't met Jordan, but I went to school with Mike Haralambie. Harry.
Okay.
Okay.
Good for you.
And who's your final dinner guest?
John Key.
Oh, a politician.
Yeah.
A politician.
Good bloke.
Okay.
I think he's a good bloke. I've only said good day to him, that's all.
Yep. So there'd be no politics talk, to just be there as a mate. Fair enough.
There'll be plenty of politics, don't worry about that.
Are you a cat person or a dog person?
Dog.
Dogs. Have you got a dog at the moment?
No.
You've had some in the past, though, obviously.
Yes. Yeah. Had a Bichon Frise. What a great dog. What a great dog.
My sister's got a Bichon. I've got a Schnauzer. So love dogs. Beautiful.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. What about your favourite band, music wise? What
Bee Gees.
The Bee Gees.
Yeah.
Oh, I could see you doing a bit of this. Pull that rope 3 and 4 up and down. Woo!
Not so much the disco stuff. Not so much, but I could live with it. But best concert I ever went to was the Bee Gees because I knew every single song.
Awesome.
I defy you go to a concert where you know every single song.
Yeah.
And the worst thing you'll ever hear at a concert, here's one off our new album.
Oh, true.
No, I didn't pay for that. I didn't
pay the hits.
Yes, correct.
I think I know the answer to this one, but I'll ask it anyway. Sweet or savoury?
I have to be careful with sweet.
Be honest.
So I'm going to go savoury.
Good man.
That was the answer I thought would.
Good man. Get. Much the same. We like our pies on the Hot Air Sports podcast. What about when you're away from the rugby and you sort of you want to go on a holiday? Are you an Airbnb, a hotel person, or a camping person?
Not a camping person.
Fair
I'm
enough.
Definitely a hotel person.
Definitely. Okay. Yeah. Man,
you know what you're getting.
This is true. Clean sheets and a comfy bed. Yeah.
Favorite vacation?
Well, I just came back from the States, and that was fantastic. I'm a tragic for the American Civil War. So managed to go to. I'd already been to Vicksburg, which was one of the great battle sites, but I managed to get to Gettysburg.
Wow.
Which was just fantastic. And so really enjoyed going to the States. Whether I enjoy it so much at the moment, I'm not sure. But anyway, that's another story.
We're all with you, mate.
I was going to say there might be another Civil War soon.
Yeah, for a different reason.
And have you seen the Ken Burns documentary on the Civil War?
Certainly have. Played it a million times.
Isn't he amazing, Ken Burns?
Yeah.
What an amazing documentary.
And the one on baseball.
Oh, that baseball one. It's like 11 episodes now. I think he's made a couple of extra episodes if you haven't called them. Yeah. What about mundane thing you hate doing, mate? What about something you really hate doing, but you have to do it?
Oh.
Commentate rolling malls.
Yeah, that's a good point. A mundane thing that I hate doing. Look, I haven't really got any great hates that I can think of. Yeah. I mean, if you gave me half an hour to think about it, I'd come up with something.
You do your own ironing?
Yeah, I don't mind that.
You don't mind that? What about driving a car? You like driving?
Yeah, no, I'm happy with that. No, I like driving. In fact, prefer driving. I hate being a passenger.
yeah, I'm a bit the same. So really, what's coming across here is that you love more things than you hate. That's
I think so. I think so. Well, I'm always a glass half full. I'm always positive about things. I think negativity drives you, sort of pulls you down to its level.
Absolutely.
So I try and stay buoyant.
Yeah.
Guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
What's your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure, ice cream.
I thought you were a savoury guy. Come on.
But I have to stay away from sweet stuff because I've got to watch my blood sugar. But on the odd occasion,
treat yourself, mate. What about your biggest fear? Think something you don't.
Claustrophobia is my biggest fear.
Yeah,
absolutely nightmarish. The thought of sort of going into a tunnel and then sort of getting stuck and not being able to go forward or back.
Oh, yeah.
I can handle heights. I can handle lots of things, but claustrophobia.
Wow.
I wouldn't have made a coal miner.
Well,
Yeah,
we don't
yeah.
we don't want to keep you stuck in that small room for too much longer, mate. So we've only got
Don't
one
worry,
more.
there's an out.
We've only got one more question for you, I think, haven't we, Macca?
Yep. The best piece of advice you've ever received?
I think probably be polite to everyone from my mother.
Beautiful.
And people often say to me, I bet you get sick of people coming up and wanting to talk rugby. And I say, no, at all. I'm happy. I'll talk to anyone about rugby as long as they're also polite.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, that was the way I was brought up fundamentally. So until proven otherwise, I'm nice to everyone.
Beautiful.
Lovely.
Absolutely.
Lovely. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you for the last 3/4 of an hour or so. Grant, all the very best for the career as it continues. It'll be a sad day that we don't hear Grant Nisbett commentating the rugby
Oh, won't
in the
it?
future.
Oh, there'll be an AI version, won't there? There'll be an AI version coming out shortly.
AI, yeah.
Exactly.
Don't start me. I wouldn't have a clue what that means.
You don't need to, mate. Love it.
So thank you very much for spending some time with us, and yeah, we'll get you back as the rugby season goes on. And are you going to South Africa with the
I
tour?
hope so.
No, I'm not. No, I'm
Oh,
not. No,
really?
I'm not doing that one. But God willing, I'll be heading up north with the All Blacks at the end of the year, which I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It will be lovely. We'll get you back on for your thoughts on how the rugby season's progressing as the year goes on. But certainly from me, it's been great to catch up with you again after a few roast dinners in between seeing you last.
Exactly.
And yeah, it's been great to catch up.
Good on you guys. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Grant. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.